resiliency needed to ensure the public good in a time of crisis. For example, when a lack of demand exists in ranching and agriculture, it becomes financially optimal to pour milk down the drain, turn crops over in the fields, and euthanize cattle at the ranch rather than providing these foodstuffs to the world hungry. Wasting food may be ethically wrong, but market efficiency delivers a scalable, efficient system that provides the highest service levels and lowest cost at the most significant volumes to consumers, leading to higher profitability. Deindustrialization and its fallouts. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, these supply chains showed their inherent weaknesses in handling the complexities of a growing and technologically advanced marketplace. The pandemic was more of a tipping point than a root cause of the problem. The pandemic's impact on the global economy has undoubtedly been devastating, with the global gross domestic product initially falling by approximately 7 to 8%, an unprecedented result for over a century, if not longer. It is convenient for the media to jump on the bandwagon and blaming the pandemic for what's happening, concluding that these supply chain weaknesses are only a temporary setback that will run its course once the virus is under control. I will show that this point of view lacks a deeper understanding of the supply chain's fundamental weaknesses that have existed for decades. These weaknesses stem from a lack of a corresponding strategy in the United States to address the problems resulting from deindustrialization, a process that has left too many Americans behind. As a kid growing up in Baltimore, Maryland in the 1970s and 1980s, I could not tell you what a supply chain was, but I knew of its impact on my relatives who lost their stable, middle-class, blue-collar jobs and lifestyles working at the Bethlehem Steel Mill at Sparrows Point and other local factories. What happened in Baltimore played out in various cities across the nation. As recently as 1980, Flint, Michigan had the highest median income for workers under 35. Deindustrialization in America and elsewhere may be one of the worst-kept secrets, often ignored, yet appearing in the ugliest manners, unaddressed and fermenting over decades. Despite the title of Thomas Friedman's acclaimed best-selling 2005 book, The World is Flat, it is not. Instead, the world is a spiky place, nation by nation and even community by community, with global supply chains choosing winners and losers and unintentionally leaving others behind. We think of this as a uniquely American problem, but it is also the case in Germany, France, the United Kingdom, and even China, a nation of 1.4 billion that still has hundreds of millions living in poverty. Once prosperous crown jewels of America's industrial yesteryear have morphed into boneyards of steel and textile mills and automobile factories, infamous museums to the global supply chain. In China, factories and even entire cities have been abandoned. Deindustrialization has become an international problem. The challenge in today's 21st century supply chain competition must involve leadership in technology to achieve a fast-paced, innovation-driven engine to solve problems, and an emphasis on training, education, and achieving societal and environmental balance within communities. Supply chains must incentivize across public and private sector objectives rather than an out-of-balance path toward one and away from the other. The evidence demonstrates that a short-term view of profit and growth required of publicly traded companies that often focus on markets through consumer obsession and maximization of shareholder value is not sustainable. In my career, I have worked in manufacturing and supply chain for a company that paid its hourly employees a stable wage to support a middle-class lifestyle while returning adequate profits to its shareholders. This strategy was in no way contradictory to meeting market objectives, and I was responsible for meeting financial targets while at the same time treating our workers with respect and admiration. When I did not hit my financial targets, I was responsible for following a structured problem-solving exercise to address the issues and develop solutions, rather than focusing on the symptoms that might have been easier to remedy through stopgap measures like outsourcing to lower-paid workers. Indeed, I sometimes had to make short-term, short-sighted decisions that focused more on quarterly earnings and stock market performance than the company's longer-term viability and its employees. A problem-solving supply chain system must focus on all stakeholders, including shareholders, workers, suppliers, and the community. Supply chains must meet these objectives by being rebalanced to better meet the needs in the long term for all stakeholders.